Guard Not Silent. This is Rodney G. Hey, thank you for being with me. And if you didn't know, it is my birthday. I don't know why I had to tell you. It always feels weird. I like, you tell people it's your birthday, like you're looking for somebody to say happy birthday. But I guess you should be. I guess you should be happy and say it out loud because we're still here. I'm 50, 50. And it's kind of funny, right? Because when you're younger, you used to see people and they have the black balloons and they say over the hill and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't have my balloons, but I guess I'm getting over the hill now. So yeah, 50 is pretty amazing. I feel a little bit wiser. I've always felt I've been very wise, but I'm wiser. And you definitely is age is something else because you can't stop it, right? But you also, for me anyway, like I can feel it. Like, and that's not because I'm hurting and all that. Like I could feel like the progression of aging to me. Like I could see it, I could feel it. Um, where some people goes, oh, all of a sudden we're just like I'm just old. No, I could literally kind of like feel the progression, and maybe some of that is living in a warmer climate, like all year round. Like you don't have those seasons where you're just sitting inside for like 6 months and it's freezing outside, and then you're waiting for summer to come, and then you have all the seasons, and you got some cool weather, and you got hot weather, and you got ultra cold weather. Where just living in the west on the west coast, and it's just always been warm. Like you really don't go through all those different changes of the season, which I think it also changes in your mind as well. I think the change of the seasons has an impact on your mind, and that could maybe make you grouchy or make you happy or make you sad, whatever that may be. I also think it in your brain, it always feels like a steady progression instead of having that breakup. Like right now, it's cool. Like it's 64 degrees right now. And it's probably going to get into the 70s. And it's been a hot winter for us in Arizona. And you channel that with somewhere where you're just cold at like 3 below 0. I know that's a little extreme just for context, but it definitely changes. So, yeah. So I think it makes the time go by quicker out here, at least feel quicker. Like this time, the holiday season felt really quick. Like I felt like I just watched some of the holiday movies like 5 months ago. So it's weird. I don't know. I think you have to be in it to understand kind of where I'm coming from, I guess. But nonetheless, I'm here. It's here, 50. Everything seems to be working well. That's a good thing. Put a little oil on it and move around like the Tin Man, and you're still here. Um, I would like to thank everybody that has sent out well wishes and congratulations for making the 50 and all that. I would like to say thank you so much, and I appreciate the love. I always get so much love during my birthday. Uh, People that actually acknowledge you and say, hey, it's nice to see you're still here on this earth. And let's go into it. Let's go ahead and talk about, finish up with the government, And by this time, where I kind of left off with that was I had, was finally coming to an end. Um, the my services, my Social Security, disability, which I was put on shortly after the kidney transplant. Well, years later, it was years later, it finally was to end. But I had got the basically it's sort of like your employment case manager. So I had that person, and that person was kind of getting frustrated because he thought because I had at that time my bachelor's degree that I should be easy to get a job. But coming to find out, it was still difficult, and even the jobs that he was seeing, some people on his caseload were getting that I was not getting, and he couldn't figure out why. And this person was in Texas, I believe, and I was in Arizona, so it wasn't. It was everything was done on telephone call, and I was tracking everything in the computer system, or I had to send. I had a fax uh, copies of my paperwork. You had to keep track of your employment. So basically, I had an app on my telephone. I'd take a picture and then I would send that to his fax machine, and that's how he was able to get the paperwork. The beauty of technology, huh? And yeah, that happened for a while, and then he started getting kind of snarky, and then I was like, I don't really got to deal with you, because according to the Ticket to Work program, which that's how I got it, and I explained that in a couple episodes back. I was able to, I should be able to look for a new, we'll call it employment case manager. So I should be able to find a new employment case manager, and they give you so many weeks to find that new person without being penalized. Um, if I was to cut that off and not notify Social Security that I had stopped working with this case manager, then Social Security could go ahead and just drop my benefits, as I wasn't holding up to the Ticket to Work program. But I did the right measures. I sent the paperwork to him. He had to go ahead and approve that we were no longer, I was no longer using his services. And in return, I was sending paperwork to Social Security saying that I am now in whatever phase they call it, a pause phase until I find a new case manager. Um, that I think it happened briefly, where I found a new case manager. Things still didn't work. And eventually, what I needed to do was I needed to go and send additional information to them, just to let them know that I'm still looking for a new case manager. And I continued to get paid my Social Security disability. And then, let me see what else did happen there. Oh yeah. So eventually, what happened? This is what happened. So I'm getting a little sidetracked because I got family over, and I got him taking a shower, singing a song in there, and I'm hearing the wife out in the living room. So, and I'm in the bedroom, and so I'm losing a little focus. Sorry, guys. And so what happened was the Social Security eventually sent a um, like an auditor. They had auditors, and it looked as if I was no longer in the Ticket to Work program, being active. And when they had, and I think the guy that I left, that case manager, employment case manager, I think he kind of knew like what would happen if I was left, because he kind of was like, uh, what he kind of explained to me, like, if you leave, you got to find somebody. Like, he did that much for me. And but I was still leaving, so I think he was kind of giving me like, you sure you want to do this type of thing, without saying it. Well, I did it. And what the state did was, or it wasn't the state, it was like the federal government did, was they went and sent uh, a case review, and then the case review showed that, well, basically I had no reason for getting money, because I was able to go back to work, even though I did the proper measures, because you're not supposed to be penalized if you're under this pause looking for a new case manager. But what I found out was, and I called, they continued having like an open case, the federal, like, SS, Social Security. So they didn't never really close a case. They kept it open. So really what it looked like, it was always in a constant review. So they was waiting for me to do something, which would send them alert and say, hey, okay, Now you could do a review on his case, say that he's able to do it, then close him out. Even though I had the paperwork that said on there, you will not be penalized if you're looking for employment. And I went through, like, I was calling Social Security. Sometimes you get a hold of somebody, you get bounced around. You speak to like a special project person, and then they will kind of explain to you, like, well, yeah, they had a case open. They were reviewing your case, and I go, well, I'm not supposed to be under review because I am under the Ticket to Work program. And then somebody go, well, I'm not familiar with that program. You don't need to contact this person. So then it kept being that whole, you need to contact this person. And then they give you the same runaround. Was like, well, unfortunately, you had a case open. Well, nobody told me I had a case open. And then, and this went on for months of me trying to fight this, me trying to still work with the Ticket to Work program so I could find employment. And eventually it was just came down to a letter that said your benefits will stop at this certain date. And then they give you all kind of options that you can file a complaint. And then if that doesn't work, after somebody reviews that, you could go and basically take it to a hearing, a fair hearing. And then a third party person will review it. And well, I might be getting it mixed up. You could do, like, I think the second one was you could send it in for like another review, and then it's still, if it doesn't work, then you could take it for the fair hearing where it actually gets sent to a judge to be reviewed. So after several weeks, and then because each of those takes months, the first two basically trying to contest it, and then finally it came to the point where I didn't have a job still, and we needed that money that was coming in. So I risked going ahead, sending it to the court. And now what they did was they'll continue paying out your monthly money, but if they find that you lost the case, then you have to pay an overpayment. So that money that you was getting during the time during that court case that the judge needed to review it, you don't go to court. And maybe we don't go to court because it was COVID, around COVID or after COVID. Well, it's not after COVID, but after the lockdown. So maybe that's why you didn't have to go into the actual hearing. But it gets reviewed. You may have to go and talk to a judge, like virtually, if they still have that option. And months later, many months later, I got a basically an email saying that they were going to stop my services. And I even, like, they wanted another medical review and all that. So what I also did was, at that time it was the Biden administration, and I looked up the White House online, and there's a certain page that you can actually complete, and that is making a complaint about something. So I made a complaint about the Social Security disability in my case, and just because I was getting pissed off, so I sent it to him, and I got a response back from the Biden administration, and they said that they were going to go ahead and contact Social Security disability. And this was, for me, this was to prevent from going in and doing a medical review, because I had all my documentation from it, my many doctors, and Social Security knew about it, because they said, yeah, we received something from you know from the president, and I don't know if not, it's probably like a president, probably like a person that was working for the president, but it shows up as presidential documents or whatever. And they say, so we're going to stop. You don't have to do any medical review. And so I think I pissed them off because they initially, that's when they went right to like, okay, cutting, you know, you don't have to do a review. They had a third party person interview me, made a determination. And then that's when everything kind of moved really quickly to get me off the services at that point. And which led back to the judge didn't approve, didn't, didn't find it in my favor. And that left me with a $10,000 overpayment. Like I said, I was taking the risk because we couldn't afford just the money to stop at the time. And so a $10,000 overpayment. It, everything kind of stopped after, because we're still like in the COVID. I think maybe the second COVID strain or something popped up. So not a whole lot of letters were being sent out at the time, but it still shows up as a $10,000 overpayment that I got to pay the government. And I don't have any money to pay them $10,000 because they stuck some type of loophole in there that they didn't tell nobody about, how to get you off of your cash assistance. They never, not one time in the reading, I even went to the policies and procedures because I learned that when I worked for the state of Arizona, how to look up policy and procedures. And I even put that into my writings too. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. So they cut me off, and that was it. So I just really told you the story. I hope it flowed well enough to follow. But the basics of it is pay attention and ask questions and research. And I don't know if anything would have prevented this because nothing said that they would keep an open file. And then when something happens, like you decline something or like that, that it will send an alert to them to go ahead and review that file since it's already open. And it's supposed to, they call it random, but so since it was so random that it sent the alert, and then all of a sudden you started getting calls from people starting asking questions about your current medical history. And then later finding a way to get you off of that. Very sneaky, very sneaky. And it worked. And what I should have done was to stay with that case manager and just deal with the stuff, because according to the policy, it did not support what I was trying to do, was find a new case manager to help me look for employment. I did eventually get onto Voc Rehab because I decided that I could get to Voc Rehab since I had a disability, and then see if I could get services through them, which I did. And that's another story for later. I hope this works out for you. I hope this information helped you out. I know it was a little long. I know I had pauses in between. I'm gonna keep it raw and just unedited because I don't know with the editing, what to take out, and I don't want to take out too much, even though it was kind of skippy in some places. I just wanted to give you the raw, like, information. So if you a person, or if you know a person that's going through maybe a similar situation, just be careful and ask questions and document. I had all my documentation. I kept it all. I kept my notes. I kept who I spoke with. I kept the time and dates. So, because you're going to have to refer back to who you spoke to, because everybody will go, I don't see a note on this. Well, I have a note. It was during this time that I spoke to this person. Then they could go back and go, oh, yeah, okay. Be diligent. Be your best case manager. Be your best advocate. If you can't do it, have somebody that you trust that can help you out with making sure you document everything. All right. Well, I'm still a little under the weather. I feel a lot better. The flu A is maybe going to a flu A negative, maybe because I am still stuffy, some congestion, but overall, I'm good. And I was able to see another birthday, and that means that I woke up. If you wake up, you have a purpose. All right, bye.